What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the O Show podcast, episode 416 of the podcast. We are presented by Mayweather Boxing Fitness in Scottsdale, Arizona. You are running out of time, folks, to sign up for a membership in the heart of Scottsdale, Arizona, opening up Halloween week, late October. Mayweather Boxing and Fitness. Learn from Floyd Money Mayweather's techniques. And we're also sponsored by betonline.ag. Sign up for that 50% bonus. We got NFL Week 6 coming up. betonline.ag. Again, this is episode 416 of the podcast. Ian K. via satellite from Torrance, California. I've been waiting to do this show with you for, again, almost 3 months now. I apologize 100% on me for botching the whole email back and forth. We were playing tag for about 3 months. But finally, you put your foot down. We made the call the other day to set this up. So welcome to the show, man.
I am so grateful to be here, and no apologies whatsoever, man. We're all busy, and I'm just glad you recovered from having the corona, man. I'm glad you're doing better.
Oh, my, it's crazy. And, 2 months later, again, I had that back in August. 2 months later, I live with 4 different roommates. They all have it right now. So it's crazy. It's not going away.
It's the apocalypse of our era, man. It's a crazy time, and that's why, every day is a gift, man. And being your health and just your mental health and everything really matters. And I'm just happy you're doing better.
And I say this all the time. I think the last, 17, 18 months, however long it's been since the whole pandemic started, it's given everybody who's privileged enough, I will say, a new breath of life in a sense, because you got the time to kind of really take the time to understand like who you are, who you want to be moving forward, and what you want to do. When it comes to providing value for others and being there for others. And I think, the trials and tribulations and the stuff that you've experienced in your life and what you've been able to do on different platforms, let alone Jake Iggy's, who's a friend of mine, the reason I was inspired to reach out to you. You wear, again, multiple different hats, whether it be in business, whether it be being a coach, whether it be, talking about mental health and aspects of mental health, because you've been through multiple, 3 specific, life-threatening instances I know about that really have opened your eyes into who you are as a human being and what you want to, again, provide.
100%. And yeah, man, it's like the 2020, I call it the vision, man. Like everyone, call it a gift. We've all had lost loved ones. We've all had to change the way we freaking live, our habits, not leaving the home, all these different things, man. And I think it really put things into perspective. But yeah, man, the 3 big things that happened in my life that really trajected, where I am now today. Just before I was even 10 years old, one, I was diagnosed with a heart murmur. So I've been a heart patient ever since the age of 4. And going to doctor visits and kind of living in fear with, like what's going on with my aortic valve, with my heart. And then at the age of 7, I had a near-death experience where a rottweiler came and attacked my arm when I was playing basketball with my brother. So I almost lost my life there. And that developed later because I went into shock and I was rushed to the hospital, and luckily I was able to recover. I developed Tourette syndrome. So just growing up with adversity before the age of 10, man, I started twitching and, having facial tics. I couldn't understand what was going on with my body before my parents took me to a psychiatrist or a neurologist, and they're like, yeah, you have, this is a call it disease, right? But yeah, I just feel like diseases or things that you have a diagnosis are, it's a choice to choose to have it, to have it be a part of you and stuff that's out of your control, or you choose to either suffer, and like those things that happen to me, call it like giving me, like mental toughness or whatever, but like I had to overcome like my own fear of dogs, the animal that almost killed me at that early age. So it's like when you're young, and I chose like at that age that I look back, like I'm not going to be the victim. I'm going to be the victor of what happened. Like I didn't like taking my shirt off. I still have scars to these days. And I also later at 14, just from, I was very lucky to play sports, but I developed arrhythmia and I had to stop playing Pop Warner football at like 12. And then at 14, I didn't even get to graduate from middle school. I had my first valve repair. So I had open heart surgery, and they did guinea pig surgery on me, and they gave me not a pig valve or not a cadaver valve, but they took tissue from my pericardium and they made a 3rd leaflet. So like that was lucky, and it lasted for 11 years. And then later when I was 25, I had a mechanical valve surgery. But it's like all these things, happened for me. And it's just like I had to connect the dots of my life and realize, dude, like where I was and where I am, I wouldn't be there without great mentors, with great family members, with the people that have helped me. Even like the last thing I want to say with this, like 3 life altering events that really propelled me, is my next door neighbor. Actually, his name is Ruben Polito Jr. He saved my life. He choked this rottweiler off me. So it's like all the problems or things that were outside of my control, there's been amazing people, whether it be a cry for help. I was freaking screaming because I was like a rag doll for at least 5 to 10 minutes with this 100-pound Rottweiler, and I probably weighed under 70, 80 pounds. And, like just in life, whether it business, whether it be problems, you have to just sometimes remove yourself from the situation and realize that you have to ask for help or cry for help, and you'll get to a better place getting literally things off your chest, and just knowing that like, um, there's people that will come into your life at the weirdest times, and you have to just be grateful and thankful and like open to all those things, like open to the universe. It works in mysterious ways.
Right. I mean, and it takes years. Like, it probably took you years to connect all of those dots to know that all of those other dots in life had to be connected in order for you to find your own true identity. Like it happened for a reason. Because even, you could say that Rottweiler, I know you talked about it on Jake's show, like was trained to be a protector, right?
It was, I wouldn't say it was a junkyard dog because it
Yeah.
was like a neighbor of mine's, but yes, this dog did not go for really walks. It was locked in its backyard. The owner trained it to like really like protect it, and that's the thing. It's like I learned, whether it be people, whether it be animals, we are all products of our environment, and we can all be trained. Not just like you can learn stuff through imitating it or watching it, but to really adopt those behaviors and those habits, you have to like literally spend the time doing that, whether that be lifting weights, building muscle, whether it be studying for the bar exam or studying for anything. You have to put in that time, and it can be trained. So yeah, like I realized, dude, like this dog was a product of its owners, its environment, and at that young age, it gave me like the ability to really be like clear, like to like be able to understand that at that young age, I guess. And I guess that's some of my gifts, like being empathetic and understanding, just because of like being in that situation, and then also like growing up later, living in fear to an extent, and not wanting to tell people about my Tourette's, and like not like understanding what was going on. Like I couldn't even understand the involuntary movements of my Tourette. So like it really gave me an ability to be like, fuck, like I can't ever judge or really um, get to I need to understand other people because I'm not understanding what's going on with me, type of thing. So it's
Mhm.
like it gave me really good humility and embarrassment, and it humbled me at that young age, because it's like, dude, like these were some of the worst things that have happened for me, but they've been my greatest gifts. I did not know that. And it just I just feel like more now than ever, being 32 years old and still being young, hungry, and so involved with business, with my clients, with what I decide to do every day, that I'm in more in control of my life than ever. Even though there's, the government restrictions and all these different things and mandates, it's just when you can understand fundamentally the human level that, dude, like people go to bed, whether it's having like COVID-19 or other things, like they're not going to wake up tomorrow. So it's like I just thanked God, the Lord, like I didn't choose my name, right? I didn't choose coming into this life. You didn't choose Jack as your name, like it happened for us. Like I was born into this life, dude. And I just feel like everyone will at one point in their life, because the person you were or that you grew up, and the person you are now and the person you want to be, are all three different people. And it's gonna, to really get on track and to have to go where you want to go, you have to ask the right questions and be brutally honest with yourself. And sometimes that truth hurts, but you know what? Where the horrible things are ugly too, but that's the truth, right? Like it's like a tragic event is horrible when someone loses a life, or they're murdered, right? But understanding that there's beauty, because there's not like someone pulling the wool over your eyes. You have to sometimes know what's behind the curtain, and in order to figure that out, you just have to go deep and ask those questions. And like it's we all have an inner world and inner experience every single day with our thoughts. But when you can put your thoughts aside, listen, and be very open-minded to other people, that's how you're really going to grow and just be who you are. And it's like events change people. Like you will get stuck in a past event because it happened to you, and you have to not only think about where you want to be, but you have to picture yourself, and then you can't just pray, wish, or talk about it. You have to act and do with your behavior. When you start doing that, that's what you are. Like you are a product, not of just your environment, but what you do, whether you're in your environment or whether you create an environment. And it's so important to know those things, because like action, 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 whether it be an athlete or whatever, action, action, action gets results. There's pros and cons to actions, and there's always analytics when you take action.
I think it's very safe to say that you're a deep thinker. Do you think that, that intuition to, again, go through those thoughts on not only an hourly basis, but by a minute basis, to know what you're doing, what you're looking to do moving forward, doing what you're looking to learn from your past, not just failures, but experiences? Because again, unfortunately for you, those experiences all happened at a very young ages for you. So was it always, because I know you're big into fitness too, and I know me personally need that alone time, that gym time to really focus and set out my goals, set out and plan what I'm going to do, what my next move is going to be. Did you always have that from a young age, or did it take those experiences to kind of mold that?
That's a great question. I did not have it at a young age. I actually I'm one of two children. I have an older brother, and he's 3 years older than me. And growing up, I kind of like, he was like my hero in a way. He was like a star athlete. Got to play football at UC Berkeley. So it's like I got to travel to him. He played soccer, football, and baseball. Started all throughout high school, but then went to have his career be football. And I don't want to say like lived in his shadow, but like it wasn't to where I'm like, dude, I want to help people like hit their fitness goals. Like I couldn't do PE at one point because of my heart problem, and I was restricted to doing the mile and all these things in middle school. And it's like when I finally had my surgery, it's like I had an upgrade. Like I got a mechanical valve when I was 25. But before that, like I always was health conscious. And before that, even like when I was like, after having the Tourette's and like 13, 14 adolescence and growing up through puberty and a teenager, like I emotionally ate. Like I am an emotionally eater. Like you have to understand, like no one's perfect, but when you understand how you work, how you react to things, what sets you off. And here's another thing that I've learned along my journey or life. It's like what you find or what really upsets you in other people. That's something that some way, shape, or form might upset you, like that you're not dealing with yourself. And like people project all the time certain things, but like if you like, oh, like I have a pet peeve of someone doing that, like sometimes you just get over it. Like you need to, some other person might not be aware, but it's like when you can not judge other people, it's a really good reflection of who you are. But to answer your question, it's like no, I did not live inside this inner world that I've created for myself, where I wanted to become that caterpillar that then is able to fly away and flap its wings. And it's like I just feel like through the things that you don't want to happen in your life, if you focus on that, you'll just get more of that. And everyone has to go through some stage or some certain thing, and then you have to birth yourself like a phoenix in a way. Like an old past version of you needs to literally be erased. And it's the weirdest thing. It's like when you have a nightmare or you have an amazing dream, you remember that shit, right? But did it really happen? Kind of. But did it really happen with your actions and you being aware and cognizant? No. So it's like you have to kind of always get back on track. And here's the thing, like I've been so blessed to be, I like to say I'm a serial entrepreneur who makes his overnight oats every night. I do oatmeal and I meal prep. And I've been a part of a lot of different startup projects and things, but everyone has an influence over some other person.
Yeah.
The people that you spend that time with, no social media or not, like the word influence is in the word influencer. And everyone these days gets so caught up on getting their gig on social media. And like back when I'm growing up, it's like people had their gigs on Nickelodeon or Disney, or they had these opportunities where they performed and they had an amazing platform to show what they like to do or what they're all about. And like I just feel like I was born in 1989, so it's like that's when the World Wide Web was discovered. And I'm an internet boy. Like if I'm 32 and the internet's basically 32 years old when people were using it and the screens weren't just matrix green and black and stuff, you have to realize like we're in this day and age where there's so much at your fingertips. I love the movie Willy Wonka, and if you like remember the original one, you see like how is that person going to go up a million little pieces and on that screen? And now we have like iPhones and things. So it's like I've just like movies for me gave me such imagination Albert Einstein's a big mentor of mine. I've never shaken the hands of half the mentors that are mentors in my life.
Right.
I've just studied them and learned from them. And, you know, Albert Einstein says, like, imagination is everything. It's the preview of life's coming attractions. And if you can, you know, picture yourself where you want to be and you're patient and you put in that work, or if you can't do it yourself, you get the right people that have that experience that can do it, and you get them involved, you'll get closer. And it's like, and some of the things that I even wanted most of my life didn't happen for me, but it led me to something better. And I just feel like when you don't, when you cut off and you detach, like from my good friend David Meltzer, when you detach yourself from the expectation of something, you're never going to be let down, because then you're just living in the moment. And I like to say, like, every day is a gift. And when you can be present in that moment, breathe, realize that we're just the soul, we're just an energy inside of our body, you'll realize real quick, like, dude, as much as the human beings on earth know of this day and age that we're alive, dude, there's so much shit out there that we don't know. And, you know, like, as much as we're, you know, like, not just animals running across the road like bears or deer that cause a lot of accidents, but man is literally the most dangerous animal on earth, being you.
Wow. Yeah, and to go back to what you were saying about expectation, it's so easy to get into that mindset. You know, it's great to have an idea of what you want to do. Like the vision, that's the foundation, right? But at the same time, if you have a certain expectation for how it's going to turn out, it never turns out the way you want it to, right? I think anybody would agree with that. Even if it does turn out better than what you expected, it doesn't turn out to be exactly what your expectation was.
No, 100%. And like whether it be the 10 commandments you follow, whether it be the Bible, these are all amazing ways for someone. Don't want to say live a pious life, but like, you have to kind of make that own manifesto for yourself, whatever it is you're doing. And like, I wasn't a bit, I struggled in school, like younger, with learning disabilities and stuff. I wasn't held back, but I was in like IP testing classes where I was able to have like time and a half on tests and a reduced classroom size. You know, all these other people that I grew up with, they're like, oh, Ian's in the special class and stuff. It's like, well, look, it took me now to realize, yeah, I am special. Like, everyone is special. Everyone has intrinsic value, but there's a lot of people wasting their specialness because they care so much about what other people think about them. And they just, they're not an action taker. You got to take actions, and then you learn so much from that. And yeah, um, you know, ideas are one thing, but like execution and just taking a chance and like failing is everything. Like Edison said, I didn't find 1,000 ways that failed. I found 1,000 ways that didn't work. And that's a perspective, like your perspective shifts. And whether that be through near-death experiences, but there's something about people that paraplegics or whatever may have you that are just fucking inspirational people, because they almost lost their life and they seem to have their mind connected to their heart in some crazy way where it's literally like they're a Marvel superhero. And you know, like, it's crazy when you don't give up on yourself. You remember that one guy that gave up? Neither do I. I don't remember him. But the person that becomes unstoppable is the person that doesn't lie to themselves, doesn't come up with their excuses, and doesn't blame anyone, have shame over anything, or justification over their current situation. Because
How
like,
how often do you have to remind yourself of this? Because again, when it comes to the little things, it's repetition. It's day after day after day after day, reminding yourself of these qualities of this specific mindset that you're kind of laying out. Because again, it's very easy to have the idea like, oh, I made this mistake, I went through this. It's easy to go this route, but I should be the higher man. I should go to a place where like I should be providing people with love, happiness, etc.,
yeah,
etc. You know, but at the same time, it's easy to fall back into that line. It's easy to say I'm going to do it as opposed to actually taking the action and doing it. Like, for example, I have Irish blood. I'm from New Jersey. I get pissed off sometimes, right? And it's very easy to get pissed off about something that you were pissed off about when you were 12 years old, right? I could stub my toe and just be like, ah, shit. Like, you know, it just takes you back. But like, you constantly have to, you know, that's just a lame example. But, you know, it's easy to go back into the same mindset because your mind was in that repetition for so long. How do you specifically give yourself the time and, you know, nourishment to think in a different direction?
no, it's a good question. Everyone's different, and you have to understand, like, just like there's different love languages of like people that like rooting on, like, you can do it, or people that literally like the pat on their back. Like, everyone it's not really the golden rule. Don't do unto others as you would want to be treated. Sometimes people need to be treated differently, but you can always be respectful with people. But for me personally, like the last 3-4 years especially, um, and a lot of people will say this, but it's all about, for me, like breath work and just getting connected to my center. um, you don't need a library to study where it's quiet. You can create your own quiet space, or whether it be Happy Gilmore is a great fucking movie that I love, and it's like happy place. Like he took his mind when he was on the golf course, and he thought of like Chubbs Peterson, all these like things, and you just have to have the power, um, to have the discipline to just create a couple minutes, not even seconds, a couple minutes out of your life to just control your thoughts, disconnect, take some deep breaths. For me, that helps me get connected to center. There's things all the time where I have to push my hand on the horn when I'm driving and honk at someone for like more than a couple seconds.
Yeah.
Like I get pissed off. Like we're all human. But it's like I sometimes say, hey, like when someone else does it to me and they flip me off, I'm like, okay, maybe that right turn, or me being on my brake a little bit longer when there was a green light, they're probably dealing with something else other than what I just did for them to be so upset. Like, but to answer your question, it's really about removing my ego. We all have, like, I'm a big Disney fan, and studying Walt Disney's life and how he created, souvenirs and a whole experience at Disneyland off of the cartoons and other things that got his start. But it's like, you have to realize, like, let your conscience be your guide. I don't want to, if it's Geppetto or no, Jiminy Cricket. So it's like your conscience is your ego. You can't let your ego guide you. You have to have your heart guide you. And when your heart and your mind, your visions, your actions, your behavior is aligned, you're like at one, and you're like in a state of, like, I don't want to say enlightenment or peace, but you're just are, like, being, right? You're just there, like a flower blooming, right? It doesn't know time. I feel like time is a construct that us man and women, or whatever have you, human beings have made. And you have to realize, like, in order to really love a flower or a plant, you don't pick it, you don't give it to someone else. You nurture it, you water it, you cultivate it, and then you're able to have, like, like seeds aren't seeds, and they will die when they get dry. But if you plant them and you nurture it, like, those things go so hand in hand with the dualities of life. And I just feel like, for me, like, yeah, like, I am a lover more than a fighter, but I am a heart warrior. Like, I like showing up every day, and I think of myself as, what's it called, like Maximus from
Yeah.
Gladiator. Like, there's always going to be critics. Always will be critics when you're in that arena, you're in that gym. For almost 18 years, I was on a baseball, or 14 years. From the age of 4 or 5, I started playing t-ball and stuff. So it's like, I like to say, like, when I step in the office or when I'm so-and-so, like, I like showing up as myself every day, and like just doing my breath work, or figuring out, how to control your emotions is really underrated with how you can show up and how you can, like hit that curveball and be under pressure and other things, because it's all relative. And when you are like a Kobe Bryant, or you're like Michael Jordan, it's that 10,000 plus hours that they've practiced, and they've made it, permanence. It's not just perfection that they strive for. They strive for the progress. And anyone that's a winner, anyone that's fucking a goat, whatever it is in their industry, an athlete, sports, in the boardroom, they're humble, and they failed so many more times than anyone ever saw, or anything. And that's the thing. It's what you do behind the scenes, and what you do when you're not posting about it, when you're not shouting it out, that matters most, because you know what you're doing. And when you're not lying to yourself, and you're honest and you're truthful, you can give those values to other people. Values are discovered. That's what I figured out. I'm so lucky to grow up with my grandpa, my dad, and other people that have been in my life and mentored me and give me their time. Their time is the most valuable asset. That, and their unconditional love, their stories, the lessons I've learned. But I've had to discover my own values from my own experiences. You can be taught something every day, but unless you go and read that book yourself and then apply those methodologies, like in science, have an experiment, take action, come up with hypotheses, and fail, or figure out what's going on, or and then sometimes you have to, I don't want to use the word abort, but you abort it, and then you renew, and you sometimes you gotta, like, I don't want to say throw in the towel, but when you realize that something isn't working for you, and you can go then ask someone else for help or abandon it or go on to something else, there's nothing wrong with that. Like don't put so much unneeded pressure on yourself, and realize that think good things take time, but great things take a lot more time.
How do you take these, lessons and this knowledge that you've, gained and the mentality that you've kind of absorbed through all of this into your business, whether it be Beckford Bar or Rally Flip Cap, which is awesome, by the way, phenomenal idea. Uh, how do you take all these? Because again, we go back to talking about expectations, and like you can't really have a specific expectation, but you got to have a vision in order to get to where you want to be, that foundation. Like when you take that mindset that you kind of just explained, what do you want to do with it moving forward
No,
specifically?
yeah, it's a great idea. Like I didn't always realize that I'd be an entrepreneur or be part of product development. And the thing is like when you are managing projects from concept to completion and bringing ideas and brands to life in the form of tangible goods and stuff, like you really have to understand a what someone is dealing with already, if there's a problem that they're dealing with. B, kind of knowing what their mission is and where they want, what is the end goal of what it is that they're trying to do. So it's like, I guess to answer your question, it's like to apply those methodologies of this knowledge and wisdom. It's all case by case, but it's a process. Everyone has to come up with their own process. Whether that be an athlete, whether that like what gets you motivated, like are you gonna play your jam, or are you gonna play Tupac, like what gets you going, like it's a process. You got to ask the right questions, come up with your own internal process, and like it's so important. Like work hard and hustle, but that gets tiring over a period of time if you haven't built a solid foundation and you don't have the right systems and people in place that are gonna help get the job done. No one, myself included, does shit alone.
Yep.
No one. You have not even if it's a team, but it's like there's other moving parts and other hands that are involved with a lot of different things, and people end up looking like magicians. And I don't want to say that there's tricks or there's literally a bunny in a hat and there's like it's what's behind the curtain, but there's just formulas. I don't want to say formulas for success, or like there's formulas in science and math, and success is what success does. If you're successful yesterday, I don't care. I care what you're doing right now. I care what you're doing right now, and I care what you're going to do tomorrow. And then maybe in 2 weeks or 4 weeks from right now, how can you plan that shit out? So I guess all it comes down to planning. It's a strategy. It's your tactics. It's habits, and it's just holding things to a process. When you can be patient with all those things, that's when you can, seek counsel rather than just make a decision right then and there. When you have other minds and other people involved, and it's not just you, but that's the thing. When you do that to a point, then yourself you can get really good. But like I don't know it all. I like to think that it's triple L, right? In real estate, it's all about that location, location, location. For me, entrepreneurship, life coaching, whatever, it's lifelong learning. When you can just learn from your own situations, your own experiences, and learn from others' experiences, then you're just kind of like living and watching from afar, but still like being in your body, right? It's like it's the
Yeah.
weirdest thing. It's like, and at times too, man, it's like another great movie is Avatar, right? It's like he became the Avatar at the end, and you have to realize like sometimes life is a game, man. It's weird how we're all here on Earth for a reason, and I just feel like it's up to those that lead by example, and that 1%. Not even people with money, it's just the 1% that lead and really bring that value towards other people, and those are the people that change the world for the better. Like we're all in this world. There's Elon Bezos, Branson. We want to go to Mars, right? They whether it be a deep impact or a meteor that's going to hit, like we have to realize like our human race is going other places than just global, the world, international, and we're at the forefront of just amazing stuff, man. It's just it's crazy to think, growing up with hearing the AOL noise and loading time and the patience that happened, and now it's like we get food delivered to our door
Yeah.
in the blink of an Uber or our applications. And that's the thing, like Zoom, whether we're talking right now, Instagram, Facebook, they're all tools, they're all platforms. And when you can create that and realize that you're like a chimp or an animal and you're just using different tools and you're going along with the punches, and like you can take your energy with you and you can create an amazing environment. There's people that are in prison that done horrible things. They're supposed to be there, but they are at peace And it's the weirdest thing, man. It's a choice. And there's a lot of people that are shackled in reality, and they're victims of their own fucking misery. They're victims of their own thoughts. And everyone has the ability to get to a better place. It's never too late. Even if you're on your deathbed, man, it's never too late to do the right thing and to be the person that you always knew you can be. Never.
So be honest with me here for a second, because again, I think it's an art to hone all of your energy and absorb it all for good. You know, like it's very easy to trip up, not in like a demonic way, but like just literally. For example, it took me and you 3 months to do this because and again, I take credit for being very bad at communicating. Like you could have called me up the other day and just completely have cursed me out, but you didn't. You showed up. I could tell you were smiling through the phone, like you were in a great mood, great atmosphere, which set up this podcast perfectly because we knew what to expect going in. We were both going to bring the energy. We were both going to bring the fire. Again, very easy for you to just just blow me off because again, like I wasn't great at communicating. What is it for you to, again, going back to honing that energy all for good? And again, that honesty, like, do you ever trip up and are you constantly relearning these things?
Yeah, I mean, I trip up sometimes, but it's really just harnessing it. Is it like Bruce Lee would say, like anyone can perform and wow and do all these crazy things, right? Like cause the noise
Yeah.
and the peacocking and stuff. But it's how are you gonna, we all are like a car, man. There's only so much fuel you can go when you're going full go on that gas, whether it be a Tesla or a hybrid car. But we all have, I don't want to say an unlimited amount of energy. We have an unlimited amount of potential, but we don't have an unlimited amount of energy. And there's the same amount of time every day. So it's like when you when you can really, like, I don't want to say reverse engineer, but like it just takes focusing and knowing that you can't do it all, and it's like time blocking and like managing that time and your energy. It's very similar. And I like saying Bruce Lee because it's like he's saying you can flow like water, like, right? Water can become a cup or water can crash. But it's like it becomes, you have to realize, like, things in life, flow state, whatever. If you pour a glass of water, are you on a hill or are there cracks? Where's that water going to flow? And when you can start thinking as being the water, it opens up your mind and it makes you, it literally put yourself in someone else's shoes. So I guess, like, to answer your question of like kind of controlling and harnessing and maintaining your energy, it is a fucking skill. And I do have my slip ups, but it's like, Robin Hood was really good at stealing from the rich and giving to the poor, but he was really good at, hitting the target with his bows and arrows
Right.
because of him being able to practice that skill set. So I just feel like protecting your energy, harnessing it. I like to say I'm a doer of good deeds and I'm a promise keeper. I don't say I show up and say and do what I'm going to do when it's agreed. There's things that happen in life that sometimes you got to cancel and make it right. But yeah, man, like I'm not perfect, and sometimes I'll have my slip ups, and I just know that within minutes or within hours, I have to either forgive myself, but then B, or first, I have to apologize for my behavior to my wife, my
Mm.
friends, whatever goes wrong. Because when you're honest and you can be, um, when you can really just come clean, like you feel better. Like it's so much harder to keep track of lies. It's so much harder to not be in truth, and you can't give what you already don't have. So like when you're not honest with yourself, and you're really seeking ego, and you're really seeking to manipulate people or other things, it will catch up with you, because that's how the universe works. It works in mysterious ways, and you could just never go wrong doing the right thing. And every day, man, I reach out to people that are in help and need, and I hear them, and I'm trying to be of service and value not trying, I am every day. But there's plenty hours out of the day that people won't want to take my hand, and you can only lead a horse to water, but you can't force feed it. And like you learn that you can't save everyone and you can't help everyone, but you can, take it one day at a time, and supply your, not air supply, supply your energy, and supply, what it is that that you're capable of doing. And that's the thing. It's so much better to, under promise and over deliver. And when you can do that, people will look at you like you're a magician. And I mean, I grew up Jewish. My wife's Catholic. So I'm just really open-minded when it comes to accepting people, religions. I think all religions sum down to love and respecting and having a knowing that there's some higher power that put us here. But it's like, I like to say, like it's when you do that, that's what speaks. When you can, your actions and everything are a form of energy, and it comes from love and understanding, and not putting conditions on things. Don't put conditions on things, because um, it makes things difficult right off the bat when you do that.
Would you say, like, what would you say is your biggest discipline that drives you? Like, what's the one discipline thing that keeps you going? Because, again, I know you're a big fitness guy. That could be one thing. But then again, like, you are a very deep thinker. Again, like, you're able to bring those thoughts to life through your actions, which also I feel like inspire you and set your soul on fire. So is it
Yeah,
one big discipline thing, or is it multiple different things?
probably multiple. That's like a really, it's a great question. I would just say, like, I know that when I'm not here, whether it be my children or whether it be like I'm all about a legacy, right? Like, I don't want to be known for all the things I accomplish. I want to be known for like how many people I like think of me for knowing that they're in a better place in their life because I didn't give up on myself. So it's like I just feel like from the opportunities and things that I grew up with, I'm so blessed, like so blessed to be able to have heart surgeries, like little things that a lot of people take for granted, and I just feel like I just want to, it's so much better. You can be the number one scorer, right? But and you'll get all the credit. But I think you're more valuable when you fucking have more assists. When you the number one scorer MVP is one thing, but when you can be the number one assister and you helped more people than you did yourself, I think that's like fucking that's I don't want to say as good, better, or what, but like open let that be open to interpretation. When you could That's how I like to live my life. Like I might not get credit now, I might not get credit ever, I might not ever get the pat on the back, but I know what I'm doing. And if I can do 100 great things every day and not one of them is recognized, I still fucking did 100 great things with my actions. Period. I might not have a video post go viral. I might not make a sale that day. I might not help a client or whatever. But there's more to life than that, and you have to ask yourself what I've asked myself too. It's like we come into this world with nothing, and we leave with nothing other than our memories, our thoughts, our legacy. Money is a tool, just like platforms and
Right.
the internet and anything else that you use. Um, People will think a certain way when you're wearing a suit, when you're driving a car, but at the end of the day, we're all human beings, man. You have to realize what it is that you value most. If and power to you. If you're doing really good and you have philanthropy and you're making a difference, you volunteer, you do so many good things with money. Like there's nothing wrong with that. Or if you never had it and you want it, like you have to just realize that like money is a tool. Yeah, it makes the world go round, but it's not everything. There's plenty of happy people out there that are great people. They do amazing things. And they don't have capital. You don't need to have money to make a difference. You need to have time, knowing why you're doing what you're doing, and then taking action. And you can do that whether it be 1 month out of the year, whether it be one day out of the year, whether it be never. But if you are, even if you don't even go out there and shake hands, it's like you have to at one point not be that monk and not be on that mountain. You got to go out there and be with people. I like another mentor and friend of mine is Jim Quick. And I
Yeah.
remember he said this a while ago. It's like those who it speaks more with those who sit with the great rather than those who walk with the broken. And you have to realize, like Knights of the Round Table or whatever what is your armor when you're not a knight and you don't have all that, you know, what's it called? I don't what's it Kevlar and all these things. Like when you
Right.
don't
Right.
have all the armor and you're not Captain America with your shield, how can you go being naked in your body? Like not naked like in your birthday suit, but I'm just saying like
Right.
when you don't
Your
have your
true
team around,
identity. Yeah.
when you don't have the camera crew, when you don't have your videographer, if you're Gary Vee and you don't have the D-Rock and other things, how are you showing up every day? And are you humble? Can you get off that pedestal? Like Matisyahu says, like a king without his crown keep falling down, right? A king without his crown is still a fucking king. So how are you going to be every day, and what are you going to do with that? And it's like no one's perfect, but when you can just show up with your energy and yourself, man, we're all different. We might have similar names, we might come from similar backgrounds, we might be Irish or other things, or we might have a lot of things in common, but it's like, dude, like we're all different in some way, shape, or form. We're all different, and when you can learn to accept your own truths and your own indifferences, then you can be really more empathetic towards other people. And to answer your question earlier, it's like I remember like what helps me with like my business and everything, and like the knowledge. It's like when you can be empathetic and really understanding and putting yourself in someone's situation, because I've been there from so many things of like when, like you said too, it's like, yeah, I do wear a lot of hats, and we do have, my brother and I came up with rally flip cap hats that like flip up, you know, and like I was a big spectator for my brother growing up, and we wanted to give something back to the fans that where they could, you know, have that additional flair and have an amazing experience that where the top bill flips up and they're able to, you know, express themselves, whether there's a touchdown, whether their team's beating them, and they can write something on their hat that's fun. And it's all about fun and being entertaining and being yourself, because like what you wear, what you say, what you write, what you post about, that's a reflection of what you're thinking and who you are. And there's plenty of people that do the opposite. They'll post those things, but they'll never go out there and they'll take the selfie, or they're act like they're you know, they're riding first class, or they're doing all those things. But it's like, are you doing that for you, or are you doing that for other people? Because over a long period of time, when you start doing so much to get the pat on the back or so much for other people, like you'll lose a touch of who you are. You'll lose touch of your identity. And you know, my identity has been shaped from my past experiences, but it's what I know I am to be and what I do. Like I can think a certain way, but when I'm taking action and I'm, oh, like, whoa, it's like muscle memory is a real thing. And I tell people lifting weights all the time. You have to have that time and attention, whether that be resistance, whether that be you're in a plank prone position doing the bar and other things, or doing bodyweight training with TRX, suspension training. But you have to realize it's that time that you're spend duressing the muscles. And when you spend your time, whether it be acting for a role and all these things, you become like you become Captain Jack Sparrow when you're fucking Johnny Depp. Like you become that character. And you have to realize, like, dude, like your life, you being born into this life, I didn't choose my name Ian K, you didn't choose your name Jack. Like we're all characters and the narrator of our own movie, of our own book, without ever producing a movie or writing a book or becoming an author. So when you can realize that, and you're your own producer, your own director, there's going to be characters, there might be some, you know, villains, but when you realize that the only villain is what's in here, and when you don't live in fear and you don't have any other enemies, dude, that's when you're just going to be a gift towards everyone that knows who for you are. When you don't, because like some of the people that I've had hate or certain things towards, I've said, hey, like no one's perfect. Like no one's perfect. And I'm going to remove the energy that I have to hating that person. And I'm just going to let it go. I'm going to fucking woo-saw that, you know, like you have to just laugh things off. And there's been some horrible things that have happened in my life and other people's life, and great things happen to fucking horrible people every day, and the opposite. But when you can just have a sense of gratitude for what you have now, or how far you've come or what you've been through, and then you can figure out a way to smile, man, like I want to pat that person on their back. I want to give them a shout out. I want to give them a recognition saying, hey, like I see you, and know that you're a blessing. Like we're all fucking blessings. And there's people out there that have done horrible things, whether that be murdering and pedophiles, all these crazy shit out there. And you have to realize, as much as there's bad seeds, dude, there's so many more good things. It's just the bad people sometimes, you know, take over in our freaking seeking all that attention and stuff. And what lasts longer than attention is loyalty and respect. And just people have agendas, whether that be news and all these other things. So when you can just look for the goodness in other people and be open-minded, there's so much more good going on in the world at all times than there is not. That's just my opinion, and that's just what I feel like.
No, I mean, it starts and ends with you. Like anybody could have taken your experiences that you had at a young age and just leaned on that and used it as an excuse for why they're not where they are. You know, like, oh, I had tough trials, tough turbulations, tough anything growing up, and use that as an excuse, so on and so forth later on in life, which you can't do. Like you're never going to move forward if you do that. And again, just hearing you speak for the past 50 minutes, you know, just seeking knowledge from you, it's been an honor to have you on the show, man. And again, I value your time. I won't take too much more of your time, but you know, moving forward.
For five more minutes, but no, and I don't mean to interrupt, but I love what you're doing. You've had some amazing guests. It's a privilege and an honor for me to be on the O Show. So I can't thank you enough.
And we're going to do this again so many times, because again, just like in this short period of time, I know there's so much more that I'd love to talk to you about and discuss over a long period of time. And hopefully we can develop, you know, a good relationship moving forward. I will be on time when it comes to communicating with you moving forward. I promise. But again, it's been an honor having you on the show, Ian. This was episode 416 of the podcast. Remember, we are sponsored by Mayweather Boxing and Fitness in Scottsdale, Arizona. I do want to give a shout out to Mayweather Boxing and Fitness out in Las Vegas, Nevada, and Spring Valley specifically, opening up their gym soon, as well as Mayweather Boxing and Fitness in North Brunswick, New Jersey. Got some collaborations coming up. But again, Ian K., thanks so much for coming on the show, man. Hank, hit your outro.